Before we begin tonight's Bible sleep story, take a moment to make yourself comfortable and allow this time to belong entirely to you. If you are ready to let go of the day, relax your body, and rest in God's presence, you can leave a simple comment saying, "I am ready to rest." It can be a small reminder to yourself that you do not need to carry everything into this night. And if these peaceful Bible stories help you find rest, consider subscribing to the channel so you can return whenever you need a quiet place to pray, reflect, and fall asleep. Tonight, you do not need to solve tomorrow. You do not need to understand everything that is happening in your life. And you do not need to carry every question, responsibility, or fear into this night. For the next little while, you can simply allow yourself to rest and let the noise of the day slowly become quieter. Take a slow, comfortable breath and allow your body to relax as you listen. Let the things you could not finish today remain unfinished for now. The decisions that still need to be made can wait until morning. And the questions that do not have answers tonight do not need to be answered before you fall asleep. Long ago, a man named David knew what it was like to spend a night surrounded by uncertainty. Before he became known as a king, David had been a shepherd, accustomed to quiet fields, open skies, and long nights spent watching over his father's sheep. He understood the stillness of the countryside, the sound of the wind moving through the grass, and the peaceful darkness that settles over the land when everyone else is asleep. But there came a time when those peaceful nights became very different. David was being pursued by King Saul. And although David had done nothing to deserve the hatred that followed him, he could not return home and live an ordinary life. He moved through the wilderness, sometimes with a few loyal men beside him, and sometimes facing the darkness with only his thoughts and his faith. Imagine David sitting quietly among the rocks beneath the night sky, looking toward the distant hills and wondering what the next day would bring. He did not know how long he would have to run, where he would sleep the following night, or how his story would unfold. The wilderness could not give him those answers. It could only give him silence, uncertainty, and another long night beneath the stars. Yet it was in places like this that David learned something that would remain with him for the rest of his life. Even when he could not see the road ahead, God had not forgotten him. Even when David could not understand what was happening, God was still present. And even when the future seemed completely uncertain, it was never uncertain to God. Perhaps your own wilderness looks very different from David's. Maybe it is a difficult season in your life, a decision you have been afraid to make, a relationship you do not understand, financial pressure, responsibilities that seem to have no end, or simply a mind that becomes busy the moment you turn off the lights. Sometimes the hardest part of the night is not what is happening around us, but everything that continues happening inside our thoughts. You may have spent today thinking about what needs to happen tomorrow, what might go wrong, what you should have done differently, or what you still need to fix. But tonight, you do not have to carry all of that. You have already carried enough for one day. The future does not require your attention at this exact moment. because God is already in the future that you are worried about. David did not know what would happen when the sun rose again, but he continued to place his trust in God. He learned that faith does not always mean knowing exactly where the path will lead. Sometimes faith simply means resting when you cannot see the next step, and trusting that God can see what you cannot. So as you listen tonight, allow yourself to release the things you cannot control. Let tomorrow remain tomorrow. Let the unanswered questions remain unanswered for now. And give your mind permission to stop working for a little while. You do not need to plan the next day while you are trying to rest from this one. The Bible tells us that David thirsted for God while he was in the wilderness of Judah. His deepest need was not simply for safety or comfort, but for the presence of God. And perhaps that is something we can remember tonight as well. No matter what season you are walking through, you are not forgotten, and you are not outside the care of God. For now, there is nothing else you need to accomplish. Allow your breathing to become slow and comfortable. Allow your body to become heavy against the bed, and let your thoughts gradually become quieter. Whatever tomorrow brings, you do not have to carry it tonight. You can rest knowing that the God who was with David in the wilderness is with you now, and you can fall asleep in his presence.
As the night continued around David, the wilderness remained quiet. But quiet does not always mean peaceful. Sometimes the silence gives our fears more room to speak. When there is nothing else to distract the mind, worries that seem small during the day can suddenly feel much larger. David knew what it meant to live with danger nearby. He knew that Saul was searching for him, and he knew that one wrong decision could change everything. There were no guarantees that the next morning would be easy. There was no promise that the people pursuing him would simply disappear. David had real reasons to be afraid. Perhaps that is what makes his story so comforting. The Bible does not pretend that faithful people never feel fear. David was not protected from uncertainty simply because he loved God. He experienced danger, loneliness, exhaustion, and moments when he did not understand why his journey had become so difficult. There may be things in your own life that make you afraid tonight. Perhaps you are worried about someone you love, concerned about your future, carrying a financial burden, waiting for an answer, or facing circumstances that you cannot control. Maybe you have been trying to remain strong throughout the day, but now that everything has become quiet, those worries have returned. You do not need to feel ashamed of that fear. You do not need to pretend that everything is easy. God already knows what is troubling your heart, and you do not have to hide those feelings from Him. David often brought his fear directly to God. He did not always begin his prayers with confidence. Sometimes he began with questions. Sometimes he cried out because he felt surrounded. Yet again and again, his prayers moved from fear toward trust. That is something you can do tonight as well. You do not need perfect words. You do not need to know exactly what to say. You can simply allow God to know what is on your heart. If you are worried about tomorrow, you can give tomorrow to Him. If you are worried about someone you love, you can place that person in His care. If there is something you cannot change, you can stop trying to control it for this moment and allow yourself to rest. Imagine David sitting beneath the dark sky, listening to the wind moving through the wilderness. Somewhere beyond the rocks there may have been danger, but above him the stars remained steady. The wilderness had not changed, yet David's attention could change. He could look beyond the immediate danger and remember that his life was held by something greater than the circumstances surrounding him. The same can be true for you tonight. Your circumstances may not have changed since this morning, but you do not have to carry them in the same way. You can place them into God's hands and allow your mind to become quieter. There is a difference between ignoring a problem and trusting God with a problem. Ignoring a problem means pretending that it does not exist. Trust means acknowledging that it exists while remembering that you are not responsible for controlling everything. David could not control Saul. He could not control the wilderness. He could not control how long the waiting would last, but he could choose where to place his trust. And tonight, you can make that same choice. You can allow yourself to stop thinking about every possible outcome. You can stop rehearsing conversations that have not happened yet. You can stop imagining everything that could go wrong. Those thoughts may return, and if they do, you do not have to fight them. Simply notice them and let them pass, returning your attention to the quiet presence of God. As you breathe slow, imagine the tension leaving your body. Let your shoulders soften, your hands relax, and your breathing become natural. There is nothing you need to prove tonight. You have done what you could do today. The night is not asking anything from you. You can rest. David eventually learned that courage was not the absence of fear. Courage was continuing to trust God while fear was still present. His faith was not built because every danger disappeared. His faith became stronger because he discovered that God could remain faithful even when danger remained. Perhaps that is the lesson you need tonight. You do not have to wait until every problem is solved before you allow yourself to sleep. You do not have to wait until you know exactly what tomorrow will bring. You can rest now, because God does not need you to stay awake and solve everything for Him.
As David continued through the wilderness, there were many moments when he could not understand why his life had taken such a difficult direction. He had been chosen and anointed by Samuel, and he knew that God had a purpose for his life. Yet his circumstances looked nothing like the future he had imagined. Instead of living in peace, he was moving from one hiding place to another and trying to stay ahead of King Saul. It can be difficult to understand seasons like this. Sometimes we believe that God is leading us towards something good, but the road becomes more difficult than we expected. We may pray for an answer, and then find ourselves waiting much longer than we wanted. We may ask God to change a situation, only to discover that nothing seems to change. David had to learn how to live with that uncertainty. He knew that he had been anointed for a future he could not yet see. But he could not force that future to arrive. He could only remain faithful in the circumstances that were in front of him. There may be something similar happening in your own life. Perhaps there is something you have been praying about for a long time, or something you hoped would already be resolved. Maybe you expected your life to look different by this point, and you are quietly wondering why things have not worked out the way you imagined. When we are waiting, it is easy to assume that nothing is happening. We can begin to think that silence means God is distant, or that a delay means we have been forgotten. But David's story shows us that a period of waiting can still be a period in which God is working. David's years in the wilderness were not wasted. During that time, he learned how to lead people, how to make difficult decisions, how to respond when he was treated unfairly, and how to depend on God when he had very little control over his circumstances. The man who eventually became king was being shaped during the years when he was still living like a fugitive. You may not be able to see what your current season is producing. You may only see the difficulty of today, while God may be preparing something that you will understand much later. You do not need to know that answer tonight. You do not need to explain every disappointment or find a perfect explanation for every unanswered prayer. If there is something you have been waiting for, place that waiting into God's hands for tonight. You can think about it again when morning comes, but you do not have to spend the night trying to solve it. David could not see the throne while he was hiding in the wilderness. He could not see the years that were ahead of him, and he could not know exactly how his story would unfold. What he could do was remain faithful with what had been placed in front of him that day. You can do the same. You do not have to understand your entire future in order to rest tonight. You only need to take care of what belongs to today and trust God with everything that belongs to tomorrow. As you lie in bed tonight, allow your mind to step away from the questions that have been following you throughout the day. If there is something you cannot change tonight, there is no benefit in carrying it through another hour of worry. If there is a decision that cannot be made until tomorrow, allow yourself to wait. If there is a conversation that needs to happen, let it happen when the right time comes. Your body needs sleep, and your mind needs a break from
trying to predict everything that could happen. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to settle into the quiet of the night. David eventually understood that God's presence was not measured by how comfortable his circumstances were. God was with him when he was safe, and God was with him when he was hiding. He was with him when the future seemed promising, and he was with him when the present seemed confusing. Your circumstances do not determine whether God is near. Even if you are waiting for an answer, He is near. Even if you are tired of the situation you are facing, He is near. Even if you cannot understand what He is doing, He has not stopped seeing you. So you can allow yourself to sleep without having all the answers. The things that remain unresolved can wait until another day. Tonight, you can trust that you are not forgotten and that your story is not limited to what you can see right now. Let yourself become comfortable. Allow your breathing to settle naturally and give your mind permission to slow down. You have spent enough time thinking about tomorrow. For these next few hours, you can leave tomorrow in God's hands and allow yourself to rest.
As the night continued, David could remember another kind of night. From many years before, when his life had been much simpler, and his greatest responsibility was caring for his father's sheep. Before there were armies searching for him, and before he knew what it meant to hide in the wilderness, David had spent countless hours alone in the fields, watching over the flock beneath the open sky. Those years may have seemed ordinary at the time, but they had prepared David for something much greater. In the quiet fields, he had learned to recognize the needs of the sheep, to notice when one was missing, and to remain awake when others were sleeping. He learned that a shepherd could not simply walk away when danger appeared. He had to remain present, even when the night was dark and the path ahead was uncertain. David also learned that the sheep did not need to understand where the shepherd was taking them. They simply needed to follow his voice. Perhaps that is one reason the image of God as a shepherd became so important to David. He understood what it meant to depend on someone stronger and more experienced. He knew that sheep could easily become frightened, wander away, or become lost. But he also knew that a good shepherd would search for them and bring them back. Years later, when David himself was wandering through the wilderness, he could remember what he had learned in those fields. He may have been surrounded by uncertainty, but he was not without a shepherd. This is why David could eventually write the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." These were not simply beautiful words written by someone who had lived a comfortable life. They came from a man who had known danger, loneliness, betrayal, waiting, and uncertainty. David understood that having God as his shepherd did not mean that life would never become difficult. It meant that difficulty would never have the final word. Tonight, you can remember that same truth. You may not know what lies ahead, but you do not have to know everything in order to rest. A
A shepherd sees things that the sheep cannot see. He knows where the safe places are, where the water can be found, and when it is time to continue moving. You may only see a small part of your own path right now. You may be wondering why certain things have happened, or where your life is going. But God sees the entire path, including the places that are still hidden from you. So you can stop demanding answers from yourself tonight. You can stop trying to predict every possible outcome. You can simply trust the shepherd. Imagine David remembering those peaceful fields as he sat beneath the stars. Perhaps he remembered the sound of sheep moving quietly through the grass, the warmth of the sun during the day, and the feeling of knowing that his task was simple. He had not known that those quiet years were preparing him for difficult seasons that would come later. Sometimes we do not understand the purpose of one season until we look back from another. There may be experiences in your own life that you do not understand right now. There may be moments you wish had never happened, seasons you wish had been shorter, and questions you still cannot answer. But you do not have to understand the entire story tonight. God can work with what you cannot understand. He can lead you through places you would never have chosen for yourself. And He can remain close even when the road feels unfamiliar. As you lie here tonight, allow yourself to imagine that you are resting in a quiet field under God's care. There is nothing you need to chase. There is nothing you need to prove. You are not responsible for knowing where every road leads. Your shepherd knows. Let your breathing become slower and more comfortable as you remember that you are being watched over. The same God who cared for David when he was a young shepherd cared for him, when he became a fugitive in the wilderness, and He remained with him when his life eventually changed again. God was present in every season.
He was present in the peaceful field.
He was present in the wilderness.
He was present in the wilderness.
He was present during the waiting.
And He would be present
in the future that David could not yet see.
The same God is present with you tonight.
So you can rest without knowing what tomorrow will bring. You can allow your mind to become quiet, because your life is not held together by your ability to control every detail.
You are allowed to sleep.
You are allowed to sleep.
You are allowed to trust.
And you are allowed to remember that you have a shepherd who sees the road, even when you cannot.
There are times in life when the hardest part is not knowing what to do next. You may have reached a place where every option seems uncertain, where the future looks unclear, and where you wish someone could simply tell you which direction to take. David knew what that felt like. He spent years moving through places he had never expected to call home. He hid in caves, traveled through unfamiliar territory, and depended on the help of others. There were moments when he had to make decisions without knowing how those decisions would affect his future. Yet David continued forward. He did not have a complete map of his life. He did not know exactly when the wilderness would end. He did not know when the promise he had received would become reality. He simply continued to take the next step that was in front of him. Sometimes that is what faith looks like. We often want God to show us the entire road before we are willing to move. We want to know where we will be next year, how a difficult situation will end, whether a decision will work out, and when the waiting will finally be over. But God does not always reveal the entire path at once. Sometimes He gives us enough light for today, and that can be enough. Tonight, you may be carrying a question that has no answer yet. Perhaps you have been asking God for direction, and you are becoming tired of waiting. Perhaps you have tried to solve the situation yourself, thinking that if you could only analyze it long enough, you would finally discover the perfect answer. But there are some things that cannot be solved through more thinking. There are moments when the mind needs to stop working, and the heart needs to learn to trust. David could not think his way out of the wilderness. He could not calculate exactly when Saul would stop pursuing him. He could not predict every danger or prepare for every possible outcome. He had to trust God one day at a time. And perhaps you can do the same tonight. You do not have to know what will happen next month. You do not even have to know what will happen tomorrow morning. If there is something that needs your attention tomorrow, you will have the opportunity to face it when tomorrow arrives. But tonight is not tomorrow. Tonight is for rest. So let the future remain where it belongs. If your mind begins to imagine different possibilities, gently allow those thoughts to pass. You do not need to follow every thought to its conclusion. You can return your attention to your breathing and to the quiet truth that God is with you. There is great freedom in realizing that you are not the one who has to control everything. You can make wise decisions without believing that everything depends on you. You can care about your future without worrying about it all night. You can prepare for tomorrow without carrying tomorrow into your bed. David's story reminds us that the path does not have to be visible for God to be leading us. There were times when David could not see the purpose behind his circumstances, but later he could look back and see that even the wilderness had been part of his preparation. Perhaps something similar is happening in your life right now. You may not understand why you are waiting. You may not understand why the answer has taken so long. You may not understand why a particular door closed, or why a particular season became more difficult than you expected. But you do not need to understand everything tonight. You can trust that God sees more than you see. As you rest, imagine placing every unanswered question into God's hands Picture yourself releasing the need to find an immediate solution. You can tell God what concerns you, and then you can allow yourself to be quiet. He already knows. He knows the situation you are facing. He knows the people involved. He knows the future you are afraid to imagine. He knows the path you cannot see. And because He knows, you can rest. Your life does not have to be solved before you fall asleep. The next step will be there when you wake. For now, allow your body to become heavier and your breathing to become calm. Let the quiet of the night surround you, and remember that you are not walking through your life alone. David could not see the entire road, but God could.
As David spent more time in the wilderness, he gradually learned that trusting God was not something that happened once and remained easy forever. There were days when he felt confident and days when uncertainty returned. There were moments when he could see a possible way forward and other moments when he had no idea what he should do next. His faith was growing, not because every problem disappeared, but because he was learning to depend on God while the problems were still there. This is something that can take time for us to learn as well. We may sincerely believe that God is taking care of us, and yet we can still become anxious when circumstances become difficult. We can pray in the evening and then begin worrying again a few minutes later. We can tell ourselves that everything is in God's hands and still find our minds returning to the same question again and again. There is nothing unusual about this. Trust is not the absence of questions. It is choosing not to let those questions control us. David had many things he could have worried about, but over time, he learned to bring those concerns to God instead of allowing them to consume his attention. Perhaps tonight, there is something you have been trying to control because you are afraid of what might happen if you stop. You may feel responsible for keeping everything together, protecting everyone around you, making the right decision, or ensuring that nothing goes wrong. That kind of responsibility can become exhausting, especially when you are trying to carry it while you sleep. For tonight, you can give yourself permission to set some of that responsibility down. This does not mean that you are giving up or becoming careless. It simply means that you recognize that there are limits to what one person can control. God does not need you to remain awake all night managing things that are already beyond your reach. David eventually learned that there were situations in which the wisest thing he could do was wait. Waiting was not always comfortable, and it did not mean that he knew what would happen next. It meant that he trusted God enough to avoid making a decision based only on fear. That can be a valuable lesson for you tonight. If you are facing an important decision, you do not have to make it while you are tired. If you are worried about something that cannot be changed until morning, you can allow yourself to wait. If someone has disappointed you, you do not have to decide tonight how the entire relationship will unfold. There will be another day for those things. Right now,
Your mind needs rest. Your body needs rest. You've already spent enough energy thinking about what could happen, what should happen, and what might happen if things do not go according to plan. Take a comfortable breath and allow yourself to settle into the quiet. You do not need to force your thoughts to disappear. If a thought comes, simply notice it and allow it to move on without following it into another worry. David's life reminds us that trust grows through ordinary moments. It grows when we choose patience instead of panic, when we wait instead of rushing, and when we remember that God sees more than we can see. Perhaps you're in one of those moments now. You may not know how your situation will turn out, but you can still choose to trust God with the part of the story that you cannot control. The night is giving you an opportunity to stop caring tomorrow for a few hours. Whatever needs to be handled can be handled when the time comes. For now, you can let your thoughts become slower and your body become more relaxed. You are not required to solve your life before you sleep. You are not required to know every answer. You can simply trust that God is present and allow yourself to rest.
During the years when David was living in difficult circumstances, prayer became one of the ways he brought his thoughts and fears before God. The Psalms that are connected with his life show us a man who was not afraid to speak honestly about what he was experiencing. He could talk about fear, loneliness, confusion, and exhaustion. But he could also remember God's faithfulness and choose to continue trusting Him. There is something comforting about that honesty. David did not need to pretend that everything was fine before he could pray. He could come to God exactly as he was, with all the questions that were still unanswered and all the emotions that were still present. You can do the same tonight. You do not need special words, and you do not need to make your prayer sound beautiful. You can simply speak to God in your own heart about what has been difficult today. If you are worried about someone, you can place that person in His care. If you are uncertain about the future, you can admit that you do not know what will happen. If you are tired, you can simply tell Him that you need rest. God already knows what is happening inside you, so there is no reason to hide it. Perhaps there is something that has been occupying your thoughts for several days. You may have tried to stop thinking about it, but the same concern continues returning whenever the room becomes quiet. Instead of fighting that thought tonight, you can bring it to God and then allow yourself to let it go for a while. You might quietly say in your own words, God, I do not know what tomorrow will bring, but you already know I cannot control everything that is going to happen. So I place this situation in your hands. Please give me wisdom when I need it. Give me strength when I need it, and allow me to rest tonight. You do not have to repeat those exact words. The important thing is the trust behind them. David often prayed while his circumstances were still difficult. His prayers did not always immediately change what was happening around him. But prayer changed where he placed his attention. Instead of looking only at the danger surrounding him, he could remember the God who was greater than that danger.
You can gently shift your attention in the same way tonight. The problem may still exist tomorrow, but you do not need to stare at it throughout the night. You can acknowledge it, and then return your attention to the quiet room, your breathing, and the knowledge that you are not carrying it alone. As you become more comfortable, allow your breathing to remain natural. There is no need to force yourself to relax. Simply give your body time to become still. Think about David beneath the night sky, speaking honestly with God while the wilderness remained around him. He could not see the future, but he could pray in the present. He could not control what Saul would do, but he could choose how he responded to the fear inside him. That same choice is available to you. You cannot control every person, every event, or every outcome in your life. You can, however, decide where you will place your trust tonight. So if your mind returns to something that worries you, you can quietly remind yourself that God already knows about it. You do not need to explain the same problem to yourself for another hour. You have brought it before Him, and now you can allow yourself to rest. The night does not require an answer from you. Tomorrow will bring its own responsibilities, and when that time comes, you will meet them one at a time. Tonight, you can step away from those responsibilities and allow your body and mind to recover. David's prayers remind us that faith does not require us to have everything under control. Sometimes faith is simply being honest with God, giving Him what we cannot carry, and trusting Him enough to close our eyes and rest. As you continue listening, allow that trust to become the final thought you carry into sleep. Whatever remains uncertain can remain with God tonight, and you can rest knowing that you have been heard.
As the years passed, David had many opportunities to believe that his circumstances would never change. He had spent so much time waiting that it would have been understandable if he had begun to wonder whether the promise he had received would ever become reality. Yet the story of David reminds us that being in a waiting season does not mean that we have been forgotten. There are times when life can feel very quiet in this way. You may pray about something and hear no immediate answer. You may continue doing what you believe is right while wondering whether anything is actually changing. You may look at other people's lives and feel as though everyone else is moving forward while you are still standing in the same place. If you have ever felt this way, remember that waiting does not tell you what God is doing. It only tells you that you cannot see the whole picture yet. David could not see what was happening beyond the wilderness. He could not see the throne that would eventually be his. And he could not know how many difficult experiences would shape the person he would become. He only knew what was happening that day. That is often all we are given as well. We know what is happening today, while tomorrow remains hidden. We may want to know how everything will turn out, but knowing the entire future is not necessary for us to have peace tonight. Perhaps there is something in your life that makes you feel forgotten. Maybe you have been waiting for a change in your circumstances, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for healing in a relationship,
or simply waiting for a season of pressure to become easier. Whatever the situation may be, you do not have to carry the uncertainty through the entire night. God sees the things that other people do not see. He sees the effort behind your ordinary days, the concerns that you rarely speak about, and the prayers that you have repeated so many times that you no longer know what else to say. You do not need to make your prayer more impressive. You do not need to find better words. You can simply rest in the knowledge that God already understands. David's life was not forgotten during the years he spent in the wilderness. Those years became part of his preparation. Even though he could not recognize their purpose at the time, the waiting itself became part of the story. Your current season may also be teaching you things that you will only understand later. Perhaps it is teaching you patience, helping you become stronger, changing the way you see other people, or teaching you to depend less on circumstances and more on God. You do not need to understand that process tonight. Tonight, you can simply allow yourself to rest. If your mind begins returning to the same concern, gently remind yourself that you have already given it to God. There is no need to solve it again in your thoughts. You can return your attention to your breathing and allow your body to become more comfortable. The room around you can remain quiet while your thoughts gradually become less demanding. There is nothing you need to accomplish during these next few hours. Morning will come in its own time, and when it does, you will have another opportunity to deal with whatever needs your attention. For now, remember what David's story teaches us. A person can be in the wilderness and still be in God's care. A person can be waiting and still be moving toward a purpose. A person can feel alone without actually being abandoned. You may not see what God is doing tonight, but you do not have to see it in order to trust Him. Allow yourself to rest with that thought. As you become more comfortable, the future can remain hidden for now, because it is already known to God. You can sleep without having every answer, knowing that you are seen, remembered, and held in His care.
As David learned to live with uncertainty, he also learned that not every problem needed to be solved immediately. There were situations that required patience, decisions that needed time, and circumstances that could not be changed simply by worrying about them. This is something we often find difficult to accept, because the mind naturally wants to finish what is unfinished. At night, this can become especially noticeable. During the day, there are conversations, work, responsibilities, and other things competing for our attention. When everything becomes quiet, the mind sometimes begins reviewing everything that still needs to be done. You may find yourself thinking about tomorrow's responsibilities, an appointment, an important conversation, a financial concern, or something that happened earlier today. You may even begin planning several possible outcomes before anything has actually happened. But you do not need to live tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow will have its own time. When morning comes, you will have the opportunity to think clearly, make decisions, speak with people, and take whatever actions are necessary. None of those things require you to remain mentally busy while your body is trying to sleep. David could not control what would happen the following morning, but he could choose how he spent the night. He could remain focused on fear, or he could place his circumstances before God and allow himself to rest. You can make the same choice tonight. Think of all the things that are waiting for you tomorrow, and imagine placing them somewhere outside your room for the night. You are not abandoning them, and you are not pretending they do not exist. You are simply refusing to carry them during the hours when you need to sleep. If there is a decision that must be made tomorrow, let it wait until tomorrow. If there is a problem that cannot be solved tonight, let it remain unsolved. If someone needs an answer from you, they can receive it when you are rested and able to respond. You do not have to be available to every problem at every hour of the day. Rest is not wasted time. Sleep is not something you need to earn by finishing everything first. There will almost always be another task waiting, another message to answer, another responsibility to handle, and another decision that needs attention. If you wait until everything is finished before allowing yourself to rest, you may never truly rest. David spent many nights without knowing what the next day would bring. Yet the sun continued to rise and his story continued to unfold. He did not need to know everything in advance. You do not need to know everything either. So allow yourself to become comfortable where you are. Let your breathing remain natural and unforced, and allow your thoughts to move more slowly. If something important comes to mind, you can trust yourself to remember it in the morning. For now, you can leave tomorrow where it belongs. There is nothing wrong with caring about your future. There is nothing wrong with planning and preparing. But there is also wisdom in recognizing when it is time to stop planning and allow yourself to recover. God does not stop watching over your life simply because you have fallen asleep. While you rest, the world will continue moving. But you do not have to follow every movement with your thoughts. You can allow the hours to pass without monitoring everything that might happen. David trusted God during nights when he had no idea what the next day would bring. You can practice that same trust tonight by allowing tomorrow to remain in God's hands. Whatever needs to happen will have its time. Whatever needs your attention can receive it when you wake. For now, you can close your eyes and allow your body to rest. There is no need to rush toward the morning. Let the night be quiet and allow yourself to sleep at your own pace, knowing that God is already present in the tomorrow you are tempted to worry about.
The story of David in the wilderness reminds us that a life of faith is not a life without uncertainty. David experienced seasons when he knew where he wanted to go, but could not see how he would get there. He experienced nights when he was tired, concerned, and unsure about what the next day would bring. Yet through those years, he continued learning that God's presence did not depend on his circumstances. Tonight, you can carry that lesson with you as you prepare to sleep. You do not need to understand everything that happened today. You do not need to know everything that will happen tomorrow. You do not need to solve every problem before you close your eyes. You have permission to rest. Whatever has been occupying your thoughts can remain outside this moment. You can return to those things when morning comes. But for now, allow yourself to become still and comfortable. Think again of the wilderness, where David once spent so many nights. The land was quiet, the sky was filled with stars, and the hours passed slowly. David could not see the future from where he was sitting, but the future was already known to God. Your future is known to Him as well. There may be things ahead that you cannot imagine right now. There may be challenges, opportunities, changes, and moments of joy that you have not yet experienced. You do not need to discover them tonight. They will come in their proper time. For now, you can remain in this quiet moment and allow yourself to breathe naturally. If your thoughts are still active, do not become frustrated with yourself. A busy mind does not mean that you are doing anything wrong. Simply allow each thought to pass without turning it into another problem that needs to be solved. You can remember that God is near without needing to feel anything dramatic. His presence does not depend on an emotional experience. It can simply be a quiet confidence that you are not alone. David learned to trust God in ordinary moments, and you can do the same. You can trust Him with the people you love, with the responsibilities you carry, with the decisions you have not yet made, and with the parts of your future that remain unknown. There is nothing more you need to accomplish tonight.
Your work can wait.
Your work can wait.
Your plans can wait.
The questions can wait. Morning will give you another opportunity to continue your story. For now, allow your body to become heavier and your breathing to become slower without forcing it. Let the bed support you, and allow yourself to remain there without needing to move or think about what comes next. The same God who watched over David during the long years of uncertainty has not changed. He remains faithful when life is easy, and He remains faithful when life is difficult. He is present when you understand what is happening, and He is present when you do not. So as you begin to fall asleep, you can leave your unanswered questions with Him. You can leave tomorrow with Him. You can leave the things you cannot control in His hands and allow yourself to receive the rest your body needs. You have carried enough for today, and there is no need to carry the entire future through this night. Let yourself sleep peacefully, knowing that you are not forgotten and that you do not have to walk through life alone. The God who was with David in the wilderness is with you now, and He will still be with you when morning comes. You can rest now, trusting that whatever tomorrow brings, you will not face it without Him.